there, Comic Clan, and welcome to Comics in the Cross. The greatest streamers you have never heard of. The greatest streamers you've never heard either, apparently, after the technical issues we've been having.
And the greatest streamers that I will never hear again because Cross just blew my ears out. So there we go.
I'm excited. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Nitro?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just turned the volume down on the headphones. I had it way up. That's my fault. That's totally my fault.
Got some cross SMR here. Hello.
Yeah, we're just gonna get right on the mic.
A little bit of the mic tapping. There we go. You blew mine out as well. You'll be fine. You don't need your eardrums. Who needs eardrums?
Oh, man.
I, of course, am one of your hosts for today, Cross, along with my co-host and partner in crime,
Nitro. Hi, guys. How's it going?
We did say all this before, but nobody heard us, so I feel like since I'm going to be cutting this to put it up on our social media stuff, and I should probably redo the intro, so...
Yeah.
Thank you all for everyone coming in to join us today. We are here, we are live with the newest episode of our podcast. We are going to be talking all things Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Let's do this.
Spoilers ahead. If you have not seen this, there will be 100% spoilers. We are going fully into this. We have literally got a couple of things to mention beforehand, and then
Batman dies.
We're diving in.
I'm sorry. I just had to say it.
Yeah, that's what's happening. That's why Robert Pattinson's coming in. You know, it's like Batman actually dies in the original cut. At least you haven't spent hours installing a game only for it to be ready for your stream. Yeah, unfortunately, Locke over in Dawson Air Aquaman last night wanted to play Gears of War 5, and apparently it hadn't loaded. So he started playing another game, and by the time it actually loaded, it was the end of his stream.
Oh, no.
Jay Durant Art is in the house. Release the audio.
Here, Jay, I've got to do a shout out for Jay Durant.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Jay Durant.
Absolutely.
I've got to do a little bit shout out. So those of you who are not in our Discord, you really need to get on that.
Yeah, you're missing.
What are you doing with your life?
You're absolutely missing out, man.
I'm gonna gender you, and I apologize if this is incorrect, but Mr. Jay Durant, or Mrs. Jay Durant, or however you want to do it, has been posting colored versions of inks from comics, from comic panels, on our Discord channel, Share Your Artwork specific channel. And I am not exaggerating when I say that he could legitimately be a professional book colorist. He's phenomenal. It's legit like some of the best coloring I've seen. It's really good.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that the Scarlet Witch one that he posted recently on our Discord was a beautiful. Absolutely loved that piece. We start that hashtag now, and in 2 years we'll get the uncut audio from this.
Release the audio cut.
Alright guys, so I do have a couple of things just to mention before we dive into our full talk for today. First of all, shout out to our amazing sponsors who are sitting above us here, one above Nitro, one above myself. Gamer Grind Co., the #1 coffee for gamers, alongside the coldest water. Let me put our sponsor links in there. You can click that link for Gamer Grind and use Comics in the Cross at checkout. Save yourself 5%, get yourself some amazing coffee, which I am enjoying their Headshot coffee today out of my brand new coldest water travel mug.
Nice.
Which came in actually fairly quickly. By the way, shout out to Coldest Water. I ordered this stuff like a few days ago and it came like that. I was not expecting it this quickly. I was not expecting it for this stream.
Looks really hefty.
Really hefty. This is still warm. I poured this like ages ago, like at least a good hour ago, and it's still warm.
That's awesome. Looks like you could throw that against a wall and it wouldn't even dent.
Yeah, and then of course also I got the Coldest Water. It's the 32-ounce water bottle. I mean, listen to that.
Nice.
This thing is solid, man. This is like insulated hard. Only one thing to them is the fact of I didn't order this color. I ordered the black with the blue writing.
Mm-hmm.
So that it would pop out more when I held it up on stream and stuff like that. Kind of like what the logo is above me. And they sent just the stealth model, which is the complete black one.
Yeah.
Probably grabbed the wrong one. Not an issue. It's the right product. It's a 32-ounce water bottle I wanted, and it still does its job. So I'm not totally complaining about that. Otherwise I'd have reached out to them. But it's well worth picking up. You can use our link to go ahead and pick up some of those for yourself. To pick up some of the coldest water products, the last water bottle you will ever need. And it kicks a little bit of money back to us, which was kind of fun buying it with my own thing, because it meant actually some of that money ended up coming back to us, which was kind of fun.
That's sweet.
Hey, CV is in the house. I know you guys already discussed it, but I'm catching up in the end of WandaVision. Oh yeah, how far are you into WandaVision, CV? It's an absolutely awesome show. I love it. Having completed it and talked about it on here, like it's last 2 episodes are pretty memorable. Yeah, 100%. Like
yeah.
I think last 3 episodes, yeah, it's all about to kick off. Like it kicks off like at episode 3 into like this is what's really going on, and then it all just goes boom into this madness, and it's so good. Yeah. Such a good show.
It goes bananas.
I got to give top props to Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany on that show. They were phenomenal. Oh, I meant to do this as well, by the way. Shout out to Dose of Nerd Acumen, who actually dropped us a follow while we were on our starting screen.
Nice.
So thank you. I know Locke had followed us on his own account, but thank you for following us in Dose of Nerd Acumen as well. Let me give them a shout out. Go ahead and show Dose of Nerd Acumen some love. Click on that link and give him a follow. Locke, who is in chat, is actually part of Dose of Nerd Acumen. He was streaming there last night playing Tetris 99, that competitive Tetris gaming, and managed to get 3 wins during that. Like, watching this man do this, like, I have never been able to play Tetris anything close to that level in my life. It was awesome. And then watched him beat up his son at Smash Brothers, which was, you know.
Nice.
Hey, Jay Sanchez in the house. How is it going, brother? Good to see you. And let me give CV a shout out as well, since she is here. Both Locke, by the way, and CV are going to be involved in our 12-hour stream, which I'm going to talk about next. Nice. So let me throw that up there. My first number one's on stream, and the first one was my first match. It was Wild Night last night. Hey, Queen Gamington. Queen Gamington, even. I don't even know what.
Wow. You need to stop talking.
Yeah, that went all. That went all sorts of. I'm done. I'm going.
Again, just gonna hold the mic up here and continue with the show.
Queen Gamington, welcome in. Good to see you here. But yeah, massive shout out for our 12-hour stream that's going to be taking place. It's going to be taking place April 25th, which, counting that up to date, is 5 weeks away.
That's nuts.
5 weeks, which is scary when you say it like that. We are going to be looking to raise funds for TACA, the autism community in action. Who help people with autism and families who have family members being diagnosed with autism. Co-op Trio in the house as well. They are going to be all 3 members of the Co-op Trio are going to be helping us out on that stream as well. So massive shout out to them.
I will say the mustache is growing in quite nicely, if I have to say so myself. Just saying.
Good. I want you to like film it, have the phone up like you're shaving and get.
Oh, I'll shave it on stream. I'm shaving it on stream.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not. I'm going to say this right now because like I'm doing my hair dyeing thing. I'm not doing it on stream because I'm actually going to go. I'll see if I can video it. But I'm going to go.
If you guys have to step up.
Oh yeah, you have to hit at least halfway mark. We're trying to raise $1,000 for TACA. What we're talking about with these ones are you have to hit at least the halfway mark of $500 towards TACA. Nitro is going to shave off that gorgeous beard and be left with a Tom Selleck bushy mustache on his upper lip.
This is a beautiful mustache that I have.
And remember, he's got 5 more weeks until the show. That can come in really thick by then.
Lord knows what it's going to look like in 5 weeks. It's just going to be even that much more gorgeous.
And I am going to be dyeing my hair. I have given the shout out. Hey, Neo Spider 0129 coming in with that sub. Neo Spider,
MVP.
Thank you so much. You are now part of the Stan clan. I can never work out.
Spam your Stan emotes.
Get those Stan Lee heads in the chat if you are part of the Stan clan. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of our subs who are willing to pay money to stick around and watch us.
No idea why.
Crazy people, but yes. So I've threw it out to the comic clan community to pick the hair colour that I'm going for. I went red, green, blue, or pink. Right now, blue and pink seem to be the back and forth.
If you don't do it pink, I mean, what are we doing?
Well, they need to vote for pink. I'm literally whatever one has got the most votes, I will legitimately do it. And I'm not just doing like a little at home dyeing my hair. I'm literally going to go to the hairdressers, so I can't do it on stream. But I'm going to literally go to the hairdresser, literally get my hair bleached and get it dyed bright, whatever color picks. I'm 100% going to go all for it. So like, you want that to happen? You want to see what I do and get me right now? I think it's pink's in the lead. Blue is pulling it back, but right now pink is in the lead. If you want to see bright pink hair, first of all, go vote for it. Second of all, you have to help us raise $500, and I will 100% go ahead and do that. I am going to full blown dye my hair. I have never dyed my hair that badly. I have had red hair dye on top of my brown. I have had blonde put through it as well at different stages, but I have never gone full blown just everything dyed. This is going to be the first time I've done this, so you want to help make that happen? We're raising funds. That's how you do it. Also, the big announcement. I've got a bunch of people, a bunch of them here in chat with us, who are going to be part of helping us with that fundraising. And there's a trivia contest. I'm putting together a bunch of questions, but the big thing so far has been, well, why are they competing? You know, apart from to raise funds. The winning team will be exempt from the forfeit that I have come up with.
All right.
I came up with it, actually earlier today I came up with it, and I'm pretty proud of this. Because if you look in our channel points, there's a new channel point redemption I put in there a couple of weeks ago of you can make me read something on stream in my beautiful Scottish accent. And that got me thinking. What's one of the most famous Scottish things, especially here in America, that everyone knows is the movie Braveheart.
Yeah.
It's always mentioned, it's always brought up, regardless of the fact it's like a 30-year-old movie now. There's a very famous speech in that from William Wallace. And for all of you lovely people, I'm going to read it out on stream so you get to hear it in the Scottish accent. I'm going to do it right now. But the two losing teams will have to record themselves, each member solo recording themselves, doing that speech in their best Scottish accent, and post it to social media and tag us or send it to us so that we can post it. Bear in mind that right now there are 3 teams of 3 that will be competing, which means there'll be 6 people needing to do this. And I know how much these people love doing a Scottish accent. You all love my Scottish accent, so I want to hear yours. Alright, does everyone want to hear what it's meant to sound like in a Scottish accent? Because you all love hearing me read stuff, so. Here's the speech. This is the famous speech right before the Battle of Non-Stirling Bridge. I am William Wallace, and I see a whole army of my countrymen here, in defiance of tyranny. You've come to fight as free men, and free men you are. What will you do without freedom?
Goosebumps.
Will you fight? Aye. Fight and you may die. Run and you'll live. At least a while. And dying in your beds many years from now. Would you be willing to trade all the days, from this day to that, for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
Dude, I got goosebumps just reading that. That's gonna be fun.
There you go. Someone in chat clip. Someone in chat clip that. Someone in chat clip that. That was good stuff. I know it was good stuff. Somebody clip
That was
it.
good. I got the goosies.
So the losing teams are going to have to recreate that and post it on social media. So that's what you're competing to not have to do. Because whenever I get anyone to do a Scottish accent, they all get nervous. And they, oh no, I don't want to do that. And it's like, well, if you lose this, 100% you're doing it. Put your money where your mouth is.
Let's do it.
So that's it. That's what the competition is for the trivia now. So throwing that out there. Alright, so before we delve into some Justice League talk, there was another awesome piece of superhero property dropped this week that everyone was excited for. We got episode 1 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're not going to be reviewing that in any way today. We'll probably do as we did with WandaVision. We'll probably wait about halfway through the series. And we'll probably, talk about it then, do a halfway review, and then do a full season review. But just initial thoughts, episode 1 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What were your thoughts, Nitro?
I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers, but my initial reaction was, meh. I'm sorry. I guess I'm comparing it with WandaVision, and I feel like a WandaVision immediately hooked me in.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the same type of thing with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I will say the one thing that I did like was they've turned Falcon, not that he wasn't before, but they've turned him into just an awesome hero. Like he was wrecking shop. Yeah, so I don't know. I'll be interested to see where it goes. Right now, I'm kind of, it's okay.
Yeah, see, that's the interesting thing, because, like, both you and I were pretty hooked with WandaVision. Like, I think part of it because we knew it was going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we had no idea it was going there. But
Yeah.
but a lot of people actually had the opposite reaction. A lot of people had your reaction to WandaVision's first and second episode when they dropped. Were like, oh, I don't really know if this is for me.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued the fact of, like, if that's going to be turned around going forward. I'll be honest though, I fairly enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed it for the most part. Like, I'm giving it complete kind of benefit of the doubt right now. It is definitely an episode 1.
Yeah.
And when you're doing it week by week, it's like you do need to let it build. So nothing phenomenal happened.
Yeah.
But there was a good bit of character development in it as well.
I mean, I thought the air fight with Batroc or whatever was
yeah,
awesome.
Batroc the Leaper.
That whole thing was awesome.
Thank you, Seal, for that clip. That is awesome. Make sure you post that in our Discord as well, Seal, for everyone if you can. That'd be awesome.
That's
awesome. That was an awesome air fight. Like, I will give Falcon that. Like, that fight was phenomenal. They did really well making him kind of like a, a badass hero. But I'm not gonna lie. Like, see, after that, I couldn't care less about Falcon. The whole story with his family and the stuff with the bank and all that stuff. Like, I was so bored during that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I was like,
but at the same time, though, in the same breath, though, I really enjoyed Bucky's story. I really enjoy, like, him having to try and make amends and dealing with the deep past of, like, being the Winter Soldier and how do you live now, like, and how do you live for yourself in that life, and the fact of him confronting that. I'm like, that intrigued me. That was, for me, that was a story that was on par with WandaVision because it was hooking me, but it wasn't a big action Marvel thing that you usually expect. It was this personal, hard-hitting story, and I'm like, I was hooked with that. I mean, even the villains, you get a good look at the villains and whatever Baron Zemo's up to, and it's like, I'm intrigued to see where this goes and, like, how they build him up as well. Yeah. Literally, I was like, I'm intrigued with everything about this show except for Falcon.
Yeah.
Nothing against Anthony Mackie, he's an amazing actor.
He's a phenomenal actor.
But, like, I've never felt Falcon, like, in the MCU as a leading man, and I feel like this show is heavily going to focus more towards him than Bucky. And I'm like,
I agree.
And I don't see him as the lead. Hey, Isaac coming in with that resub there.
What up, homie?
Resubbed for 7 months in a row. And throwing in those hypes and stan emotes. Thank you so much, Isaac. Isaac, of course, a good friend of the channel. Excuse me, and another one that's going to be involved in our 12-hour stream. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see where Falcon and Winter Soldier goes.
I think once Zemo comes into the picture and they kind of have to start working together, I think it's going to go a lot more interesting. But I think, like, having them separate right now, it's not pulling me in like WandaVision did. Yeah,
definitely not pulling me in like that in that same way. But I'm intrigued to see with it. Can't stick around, boys. Haven't finished Justice League yet, but I'll be lurking. No problem, Isaac. Absolutely appreciate it, brother. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see where the show goes. I'm intrigued to see what happens. We got a reveal of, like, the new Captain America, US agent, from the comics at the very end. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with him.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of intrigue there. Like, and I think if it builds anything like WandaVision done, I think we're building to something awesome.
Yeah, and I have a feeling this show has the potential to have a ton of Easter eggs and a ton of connection to deep in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, this has got potential to do a lot of stuff on it. So, like, I'm excited for it.
But
definitely, yeah, like that. The first episode, it wasn't massively gripping.
Yeah, I'm actually really pumped for Loki, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's getting a lot of hype now. I'm definitely excited. Was it June that's coming out now? And they released a poster for it and stuff. So I'm like,
it's probably going to be like WandaVision was with Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know, WandaVision ended, and then like 2 weeks later, the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Daggone it, I'll get it eventually.
All right, let's move on to our actual main topic for today before Nitro gets any more confused. We, of course, are going to be talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League that dropped on HBO Max this Thursday. 4-hour movie.
In 5 minutes.
So from this point on, we are 100% going into spoilers. We're going to be discussing every part of the movie, our thoughts
Batman
on it.
dies.
Yeah, Batman dies. Sorry, all Batman fans out there. But we are going full spoilers, and we're going fully out into this. So if you do not want to be spoiled in this, just like Isaac is dipping out, we'd appreciate it if you kept the window open and lurked with us. We appreciate all the views and lurks like that. But if you do not want to be spoiled, this is not the show for you until you've seen it.
Yeah. All right, see you, Spider. Thanks for popping in. If you want to throw us a lurk, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, if you're able to. Spoilers, I'm out. Dang, losing half the crowd here. Like, look, this was the only time we can do it. I know it's only been out for like 3 days, but
and that's why we're prefacing. Spoiler. But most of you, if not all of you, have seen Justice League, so you know the overall plot. But
most of you have seen Justice League, so you've not seen this movie.
Well, yeah, true.
There's like 2 scenes that are literally.
So realistically, how much of the original Justice League do you think comprises this movie? How much do you think of this movie is what percentage is the old Justice League, would you say?
I don't know if I can go percentage, because it's definitely a small percent, because thank you, Seal. It's definitely not a lot, because I mean it's like double the length of the previous movie as it is.
Yeah.
Untouched, none of it. Even the things that have been brought over have had something done to them, whether it's changed dialogue, changed coloring, changed whatever. Overall, though, there's maybe 2 or 3 scenes.
I was gonna say maybe
15%. Like shot for shot, there's like maybe 2 or 3 scenes that are just. The scenes are definitely replicated. Like, for example, like Batman going to get Aquaman, all that stuff. Like, but not a single shot is the same one they used from the previous movie. It's all different shots, all different setups, all different talking points. So
this is legit like a completely different movie.
It's almost like a totally
Same
different
plot,
movie.
But a completely different movie, basically.
Yeah. Trust me, like, look, if you didn't like the original Justice League, that doesn't have a bearing on this. It's like watching a totally different movie.
Alright, so first thoughts, Cross, overall, what did you think?
Overall. Okay, you're throwing it to me for this one.
Yeah, because you always throw it to me, so I feel like I need to change it up.
So you're changing it up.
Trying to be a good co-host.
Overall, I enjoyed the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I enjoyed the movie. It's 100%. It's better than the first one. It's better.
No question.
It's better than the theatrical release. That's not even a question. Yeah. Like, I mean, you would have had to have gone out of your way to make it as bad or worse than the other one. So just off the bat, like, we don't open with a CGI Superman that looks horrific. That alone makes it a better movie than anything else.
Although there is one scene. There is one scene where I think they still used the CGI lip Superman, but they fixed it. But I could still tell a little bit. But it wasn't nearly as bad as the
Well, we talked about it a lot. We try not to do this like it's a pre-show thing, because we didn't want to do a pre-show because it was a big topic. But
we had like a pre-show.
We couldn't shut up about it. We had to literally stop ourselves because we were just diving into all the stuff in this. But overall thoughts, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a really good movie. I thought it's one of the better DCEU movies in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think I said to you I would rank it maybe about a 7.5.
Yeah, and I ranked it about an 8. I think.
I don't get where all these people are coming from that are like it's the best like DCEU movie, possibly. People are saying it's the best comic book movie out there. You're freaking nuts.
Yeah, you're nuts.
Not even.
I can name 5 right off the bat that are better than that.
Yeah, it's like it's not even close to the best comic book movie. Like, there are so many better ones out there. There's arguably better ones than DCEU, depending on your opinion on other DCEU movies. Hey, Yankee Benny in the house. How is it going, brother?
The originator of the hype train.
Yeah. Good to see you, Yankee. How are you doing? Yankee is a friend of ours who has been popping in.
I feel like I need to put a hype train something in there. There we go.
Hype. But yeah, so like overall, I enjoyed the movie. I don't get where people are coming with the 10 out of 10s and stuff like that. It's definitely not a perfect movie. There's definitely issues with it.
Yeah.
There's definitely stuff there's definitely stuff. I even said it to you. There's stuff that people went, "Oh, that's a Joss Whedon thing. He ruined Justice League by putting that in it," and it wasn't him because apparently Zack Snyder either put it in or kept it. So he's just as bad. Some of those things, I'm kind of like, "Wow, you, that was you." Okay, we can't blame Joss Whedon for that one.
Still said he got a Justice League trailer when joining the stream. I totally did too, man.
Oh yeah, that's it. I'm kind of glad for that because it's the first time in a long time like that stuff actually works in our benefit.
I know, right?
Like a Justice League trailer, we're talking about it. I'm like, good. Finally got a trailer that links to what we're talking about.
All right, so I guess from my perspective, I think you and I are kind of on the same page. I don't get where people are saying this is the greatest comic book movie or greatest film experience they've ever had in their life.
Didn't even know there was a new movie. Yeah, for anyone, Seal's not like big up on a lot of the geek culture stuff. He doesn't keep up with like the Marvel movies much and the DC movies much. He's a phenomenal guy, brilliant moderator. Don't think I've even shouted him out yet. Shout out our moderator, Seal. But yeah, it's like Justice League was a surprise for him.
But so I think you and I are on the same wavelength with this. I would probably give it an 8, maybe a 7.8 out of 10. Like, I don't want to give it a 7.5, but I can't give it an 8.5 because there's still some issues with it. Like, I think for me, being like, I love Zack Snyder's visuals in his movies, but I think visually, from a visual standpoint, I think the movie is inconsistent. Like, there's inconsistent visual tones throughout the 4 hours, and it took me out of it a little bit. Like, you can like visibly see you can visibly see Ben Affleck lose and gain weight throughout the movie. It's I'm okay setting aside like a little bit of disbelief. Obviously, we're talking about people with superpowers. I get it, and I'm okay setting that aside. But it's still like visually, it takes me out of the movie a little bit. But I will say it's worlds better than Justice League. I feel like it dragged a little bit, and I think you and I kind of talked about this. It definitely
we talked about that a little. It was definitely a drag.
Hour and a half, maybe. I think it was because I remember I talked to you before I saw it, and you were like, "Dude, the first 2 hours."
Yeah, because like I talked to you, and I think it was just after I watched it. I sent you a Marco Polo, and I said like legitimately the first because I watched it in 2 parts, so I watched like about roughly the first 2 hours up to about the end of part 3 because it's broken up into parts. So I think I watched up to the end of part 3 like the first day, and then I watched from parts 4 to 6, and it's like, and I said it to you, and I was like, "Dude, it's like a different movie practically." Like the first half is so slow and takes its time, and then the second half is it picks up so much more.
Yeah, I think one of the main issues that Justice League had was right off the bat you had 3 mother boxes that really weren't explained that well. Like, what the heck is the mother box? And they immediately got taken, which was Steppenwolf's plan to take. But I think what this movie did really well was kind of explain the mythos behind the mother boxes. And like it show how difficult it was for Steppenwolf to obtain those. Like,
I think that's the thing.
It took a long time for him to obtain them.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Don't get us wrong. Like the first half of this movie, it is definitely a very slow burn.
It's not bad. It's just
like it's definitely a slow burn, especially for the first half. I mean, we talked about it, and like I honestly think they could have cut a good hour out of this movie.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree.
Easily, it could have been down to 3 hours.
Or split it into 2 movies, like you and I were talking about.
Yeah, or split into 2 movies. Like I mean, but there's at least about an hour you could have maybe trimmed here. But that doesn't mean the first half is without merit. The first half gives us a lot of backstory.
Yeah.
Like that's especially with the mother boxes, which is like good. That's the purpose of the movie.
Well, like, and I think one of the things that this movie adds right off the bat was how did Steppenwolf even know that the mother boxes were here? And it shows how the death of Superman, because it picks up literally right at the end of Batman vs. Superman. So it shows how the death of Superman, like, basically sent out this alert that says, hey, Earth is unguarded.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's like, because it sets up the whole thing of like that, well, Darkseid and his crew know the mother boxes are there. They left them there, and he wanted to go back, but they've never came back for them because Earth was protected.
Mm-hmm.
Most recently by Superman being there because they had a Kryptonian. And then Superman dies. And it's like, okay, now. And it's like, all of this stuff is explained. All this stuff that was kind of mentioned, maybe, possibly, but glossed over in the theatrical cut. It definitely delves more into that backstory, and we get so much more on that. Those are the
Locke,
things.
is that you? Is Locke Dose of Nerd Acumen?
Yeah, that's Loki's on
Okay.
the other account.
Locke, I think when you're dealing with extremes like that, when people are talking about this is the best thing ever or this is awful, it's normally the truth is right in the middle somewhere. And
Yeah,
that's why Cross and I heard it to kind of bring the truth to you guys.
yeah. Like honestly, I think I would 100% say it's a worthwhile seeing movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Just be prepared for what you're getting in for. It's not the best thing ever. Like if you go in expecting, oh, this is better than Endgame and Infinity War.
Yeah.
No, it's not,
No,
because you can't top something that, first of all, is that visually stunning and greatly written, and second of all, has got like a an over 10-year build up of story that you're invested in. That's where I think DC's had its trouble, and we've talked about that on the channel before. Like they try to get people invested in something without giving us a reason to be invested. But in this one, it's like, yeah, 100%. I think the best things that they do is they expand on stuff like that. The backstory, expanding on Steppenwolf. They made Steppenwolf a worthwhile villain.
He was like actually scary.
See that picture I posted on social media, by the way, like of Steppenwolf from the Justice League one compared to like the new one. It's like night and day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I feel like the new. It's like I feel like the first like Steppenwolf is something that the second one would eat as an appetizer. Yeah. Like you know what I mean? I'm like, it's
one of the things that I really liked with this movie was that they kind of took the rating off of it and they made it. I mean, it was rated R, but they let the brutalness of what would actually happen if that dude swung an axe at a horse or whatever.
Yeah, like the fights were brutal. That was one thing as well. Like the first half, that was probably one of the things that definitely made sure it was a good high mark of I was going to give this movie. Was throughout the movie, the action scenes are phenomenal.
Oh,
the actions are amazing. Like watching the fight scenes.
So they do a flashback to when Darkseid first invaded Earth.
I'm sorry, I just got the picture of that fight scene of freaking Zeus in that movie. Who looks like... Guess what movie is done by Zack Snyder? 300.
Oh, yeah. It did look like 300.
Guess what Zeus looks like? He looks like Leonidas from 300.
Dude, I did get hardcore 300 vibes from this movie, though. Especially when they were in Themyscira. But, what was I going to say? Oh, the battle scene where Darkseid first comes to Earth, like, thousands of years ago or whenever he invaded. And all the armies of all the world are, like, fighting the parademons. Dude. And then you have Zeus and Ares, and you have the Green Lanterns, and you have the freaking Atlanteans. Dude, it's awesome. It's one of the coolest battle scenes, like, outside of Lord of the Rings that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, and Locke's saying there as well that that's something that they find the movies kind of tend to go away from, is the more brutal stuff that's actually in the comics. And I'm like,
yeah,
I will say that for Justice League, it doesn't hold back. It goes full on brutality. You're talking
Steppenwolf is legit ripping people in half and cutting people in half.
Like I mean, it's in one of the trailers. You get a glimpse of it, like when he acts as that Amazon that's on the horse in that one trailer, and I'm like, oh yeah, like she's cut in half and gone. Like yeah, like that's pretty much as brutal as the rest of it goes. Like it lets loose on all this stuff, and that's awesome. Like that fight scene is amazing, and that fight, and then
the members, like it doesn't hold back from them either. Like
the final
Wonder Woman murders people. Like she kills people in this movie.
Oh yeah, like the opening fight. The opening fight stuff has definitely got elements of that. Like she definitely kills people in that bank robbery.
Oh yeah, no question.
But like even the fight scenes of like when they're trying to save the people, and then especially the final fight, like the Justice League are allowed to just let rip, and it's so good.
Yeah, it's really really good.
Can I take a moment as well, since we've talked about Steppenwolf, to just for how little he's on screen, how good Darkseid is.
Dude, I love Darkseid in this movie.
Do you know what as well? I was like, I'm not even sure if I like the design of him when I first saw the trailer, and then I watched the movie and I realised the design of him was the thing that Steppenwolf was putting the mother boxes into that morphs, and I'm like, so it's like this lava looking like metallic thing, and like that's not what he looks like, and then you actually see him in that fight of the past, and then you see him right at the end, and I'm like, he just looks so menacing and so ominous, and I'm like, I want to see them fight him.
His design,
like, I want to see him let loose. I'm like, it looks so good. They've recreated Darkseid from the comics.
His voice is like perfect.
Yeah, the guy. What's the guy that plays him? I completely forgot his name.
It's not Josh something Porter.
Is it Robert Porter?
Oh man, I don't know. I know Syrian Hines did Steppenwolf. I can't remember.
Yeah, but like whoever it is that plays Darkseid, like his voice is perfect for it. I was so mad he wasn't in Justice League at all. Yeah, like they cut him.
Ray Porter.
Ray Porter, that's it. I knew it was an R. But like Ray Porter as Darkseid is amazing, and Locke, yeah, they cut him out, and I don't get why. I don't get why. Like, he wasn't even in it that much. He was in that flashback scene. He talks to Steppenwolf once, and then he appears at the end. He doesn't even do anything.
5 minutes of. Well,
He's
I take that back.
Totally set up.
I mean, he maybe had 5 minutes of screen time, maybe in that 4-hour movie.
And then Humor White saying, "What's up? How is it going, Humor? He is part of One Geek 411. Good friends of ours. Good to see you, brother." And I Am Red Sun coming in. Thank you for the follow as well. I Am Red Sun. You followed us before we went live today.
Welcome.
So thank you so much. I need that movie on the Apocalypse. So, yeah, the Nightmare World. At the end of this, like, we're definitely going to get into talking about that a bit more. Like the Nightmare World, like where Darkseid is one. I want to see more of that world, and I feel like if we did get the Justice League Part 2, that would be a heavy part of it. Like I'd be up for seeing more of that.
So before we get into like the
hey,
details,
Good Kid Dad coming in with that lurk while working. Thank you so much. You stay breathtaking too, sir. Let me give a quick shout out to Good Kid Dad. He is a good friend and supporter of the channel, so go and drop him some love.
So I think all right. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of this specific movie, do you think, based on the response from this movie, that Warner Brothers will do a second like rethink about what their plans are for the future DCEU and maybe greenlight a sequel? Let me ask a question. Do you think they will, one, and two, do you hope they will?
I definitely hope they will. No, you're absolutely fine, Red Sun. So, Red Sun coming in. Don't worry about it, man. We do try to stay family friendly in the chat, so but thank you for the apology for it. We appreciate it, but like 100% not held against you, brother.
Yeah, it's all good, bro.
And I'm assuming you're a guy as well because it's Red Sun.
Yeah, we say bro to everybody, so.
Yeah, I say man, bro, dude. I mean both genders. That's just the words that come out my mouth. But yeah. Even redeemed the worst Joker. Yeah, they did. We're definitely getting into that one. I'm like, he managed to redeem that Joker, which I'll be honest, I did not think was possible.
So I did see somebody online that was saying, before I saw the movie, they were like, they redeemed him. He's the best Joker I've seen on film. He's on par with Heath Ledger and Mark Hamill. And I was like, really? I was like, I'm going to reserve my judgment until I see it. And I saw it, and I'm like, I'm going to have to disagree with you very strongly.
Yeah, I have to.
Better than Snyder, than Suicide Squad, but still not by no means my favorite.
Why is?
I don't know why.
I don't know why that held that. Sorry about that, Red Sun. It's like that.
Yeah,
it's
I
like...
definitely wouldn't give him. He's not bad. Don't get me wrong. Definitely better than Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he's not best. Like I think I said it to you. There's definitely channeling of some of Heath Ledger's Joker. You can see in some of the ways his personality takes, which isn't a bad thing. I think he does it well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's on par or better. I think Heath Ledger's Joker is definitely still a better iteration. Mm-hmm. And you're not better than Mark Hamill's Joker. Mark Hamill's Joker is 100% like the... Oh, we have interference.
Sorry, I have a visitor. Hold on.
No worries, man. But yeah, I don't think it's better than Mark Hamill's Joker. That could be nostalgia goggles talking for me, chat, but I don't think it's better than that. But they did 100% redeem the Suicide Squad Joker. They did 100% redeem him, in my personal opinion. It's like the one from Suicide Squad is a joke, and it was nice to see Jared Leto be able to stretch his chops as Joker in this way. It was nice because it was nice to see that he could do it.
So the one thing that I like about
Red Sun as well. I'm completely forgetting even like that. It's like Joaquin Phoenix, like best Joker you've ever seen. No, have you seen Joker? Have you seen that movie?
Joker's just phenomenal.
No.
All right. So one thing I'll say about the Joker that I really like is there's an unstableness about, you don't know what he's gonna say or do. Like that element needs to be there, I think, in Joker. You don't know what he's gonna do, and I think he did that a little bit in Suicide Squad, but he was a little bit too put together in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Like his hair was perfect. You know, I don't know. There was just something about him. I hated it. The way he portrayed him was awful.
I'm not a fan of Gangster Joker. Like some people like that version. I'm like, no.
But when at the end of the movie when he was talking to Batman, there was just that little bit of like, this dude is off his rocker. but he wasn't going bonkers with it like he was in Suicide Squad. It was toned down and it was actually a bit different. He had morphed it a bit, and I thought he did a way better job.
Yeah, and Iron Red Sun, absolutely. I definitely prefer Phoenix's Joker to Heath. Like, I think Joaquin Phoenix in Joker
agree.
movie, like, yeah, like I would. If there was some way to bring him into the DCEU to go forward, I would love to see that. I don't think it's possible, but
I love Jack Nicholson, kind of smallish.
Jack Nicholson's Joker is great, but at the same time, I don't think it's Joker. I look at it and I'm like, that's just Jack Nicholson.
I don't know. I don't know. It has
It's been a while since I've seen.
When I was a kid.
Yeah,
so
maybe I do need to rewatch it. I've not watched it in a long time, but I do look at stuff and I'm like, yeah, that's just. And massive shout out, by the way, to Erect Dictator. I put a shout out in chat for her. She is a good friend of the channel. Been following her. She plays a lot of Apex as well on her channel. That's how I found her. She's absolutely awesome. Go and show her some love. Yeah, it's definitely Joker's mafia side. I don't think there's enough of like the demented Joker in Jack Nicholson's version. It's not a bad take on it, but I think for me, Joaquin Phoenix is definitely the best one.
I agree.
All right, so I want to pull it back. We're kind of like jumping about bit and bit here. Do we?
Let's go character by character.
I was gonna say, do we want to do character by character, or do we want to take like half and half? Cesar Romero Joker was the best Joker. Okay,
the way that I took some notes, I didn't take a ton of notes, but the way that I had it brought up, cut up was overall, which we kind of talked about, breakdown by character, and then kind of the visuals, the CGI type stuff.
Okay.
Because everybody pretty much, I don't want to assume, but I'm assuming everybody knows at least the high level plots of Justice League. Can we assume that, or should we go into that?
Let's do a little thing just in case, because this is going to be going out on our podcast channels and on our YouTube as well. So let's do it. Yeah, absolutely, Right Dictator. Of course we're doing a shout out for you. Absolutely love you, sweetheart. Definitely go out and show Right Dictator some love if you're not. I've not seen Suicide Squad or Joker.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry about Suicide Squad.
I would watch it just so you can see what you never want to see again.
But I would 100% recommend, if you get HBO Max and you're seeing this, you'll have Joker anyway on it. Go see Joker. Sit and watch it. Like, I mean, the first time I watched it, you were actually with me. I watched it at your house.
Yeah, we watched
it
at my place.
And it was awesome. Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing. Red Sun's actually put a good kind of breakdown there. Each Joker is kind of, each person that's ever played the Joker takes it from a very different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and plays him very differently, which actually plays into the Joker.
Yeah.
Because the Joker is not one thing. He's not, it's the thing from Killing Joke. If I have a backstory, I want it to be multiple choice.
Yeah.
There's different iterations of the Joker. They even tried to do that in the comics with 3 Jokers. We're not going to talk about that comic. It's not good. Yeah, if nothing else, watch Suicide Squad Locked so that you can see the appreciation for what the Joker became. But yeah, so let's do a bit of a breakdown for this. So this movie basically picks up after Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Superman has died fighting Doomsday. Batman is still connected with Wonder Woman and gotten a hold of a thing of like different people with powers that would become known as metahumans. And through dreams that he's had, where we see the Nightmare universe, the future that we don't know, but it's a future that Darkseid's winning and destroying Earth, and Barry warning him about it. The Lois Lane is the key. We still don't quite know why. And he's to bring together these super-powered individuals.
Yeah.
And we've seen Flash, we've seen Aquaman, Wonder Woman, who he's already with, and Cyborg. So he goes out to connect with these people. They come together. Brief synopsis, he brings them together. Steppenwolf comes to Earth. We get a great backstory on Steppenwolf, that he's actually basically been cast out from. Not that Adam coming in with a gifted sub for Batman Beno. Thank you so much for that gifted sub.
Thanks, guys.
Not that Adam, I appreciate it. And Batman Beno, welcome to the Stan Clan. Appreciate it, brother. So Steppenwolf, basically trying to get back in Darkseid's good graces, comes to Earth to get the mother boxes. We find that these are things that Darkseid would use to demolish planets and basically turn them into versions of Apocalypse. Mm-hmm. And then he would basically either slaughter the people or whoever survived, enslave them and turn them into parademons. And that's where the parademons that work from come from. Alert's still broke. Are you not getting the alert sound? You know, I'm gonna look at it later. It's not worth it. They're popping up on screen. So I'm like, I'm not worrying about
them. I saw some of them earlier.
Yeah, I see them popping up, but apparently they're not making sounds.
Mm.
As long as they pop up on screen, as long as I can shout them out, well, yeah, I'll look into that later. But yeah, so like that's what Darkseid uses to demolish them. When Darkseid was last on Earth, he was chased off by the combination of the old gods, like we talked about. We've seen Zeus and Ares, by the Amazons, by the Atlanteans before they went underwater, by man, chased them away. And the Atlanteans, the Amazons, and men all took one of the boxes.
Yeah.
To hide it, to keep it safe, so that it couldn't be used again.
Can I just point out how, like, what? So it showed each civilization hiding the box and like the links they go to hide the box. Like the Atlanteans,
I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say.
They put it underwater. It's in this like fortress, whatever, and it's guarded and protected by Atlantean soldiers. At Themyscira, they put it in this domed fortress, and again, it's secured by all these like Amazonians with spears and bow and arrows. And then the men just dig a hole in the ground.
Dig a hole, throw it in, and cover it up.
So funny, dude.
It's like,
I'm like, yep, that's what we would do. That's it.
Atlanteans and Amazons, like these massive like defense armies specifically to defend the box. Human beings dig a hole,
so funny.
Throw
I
it in.
laughed out loud last night when I watched that because I remembered it from the first one, but it was just this much more pronounced. Than this.
Yeah. So Steppenwolf comes to Earth with the hopes of getting that back. Getting the mother boxes, that's his try. He gets the ones from the Amazons, basically lays waste to them, lays waste to Atlantis as well, and takes their box, and the last one is the box of man, which of course the Justice League have access to because that's part of what Victor Stone's father used to help bring him back to life and turn him into Cyborg. Which, shout out, we'll get into it by the way, a lot of backstory on Cyborg that was just left out of the last one, and it was so appreciated to have it in there. Like, it actually made me care about that character, and I could care less about Cyborg in most media. It actually made me care about Cyborg, and I'm like, good job, Zach, I'll give you that.
I really like what they did with Cyborg and Batman in this movie.
Yeah. But then, so like he's bringing these together, and then the interesting thing that came up that was never in the original like theatrical release, the Justice League, was apparently Steppenwolf finds out that the anti-life equation is written on the surface of Earth.
Yeah.
And if they use the mother boxes to burn it down, it will finally give Darkseid the anti-life equation. Which I'd like to point out, he's been talking directly to the planet Apocalypse this whole time.
Yeah.
Through a mediator. Darkseid has not addressed Steppenwolf in any shape or form. He's not even worth his time for that until he mentions the anti-life equation.
Do you know? Can you explain who they are? So it's Desaad. Who is the old lady that showed up beside Darkseid?
That's Granny Goodness.
Okay, got it.
Not kidding. That's her actual name. Is Granny Goodness.
Yeah. I didn't grow up with Darkseid comics. I don't know a ton about
Darkseid is actually, for all you like old school comic book fans, Darkseid is actually a creation of the legend himself, Jack Kirby, one half of the powerhouse that made most of Marvel.
Yeah.
He went over to DC to work, and he created beings called the New Gods. One of those new gods is Darkseid. The only new god that makes it over to main stage DC universe on a regular. Like some of the others have popped up, like Orion shows up sometimes. But Darkseid's the only one that's made it over like as a prominent thing, and his home planet is Apocalypse. It's basically hell.
Yeah.
He is king of Apocalypse, and then he, kind of like Thanos' Black Order, like Darkseid recruits people and brings them in. So like Desaad is like one of his like right hand yes men.
Yeah.
You know, he's I see somebody describe it online, he's basically the kid in school that was a suck up to the teacher that would remind them they hadn't given you homework.
Got it.
You know, it's like he's that suck up. Granny Goodness, she's the head of the Valkyries, like the fighting squad for Darkseid, which I still find hysterical he even has one. He doesn't need them. Yeah. The guy's like untouchable. But yeah, so like his whole goal, for anyone who doesn't know, is the anti-life equation. That's, a lot of people get pushed away with that because that just sounds like an out there concept. Like at least with Thanos, like going after the Infinity Stones, you get an idea that there's these different stones, they do something specific. Basically what the anti-life equation is, it's this it's literally a mathematical equation that would cause Darkseid to basically gain control of the universe. It would basically wipe out free will or life in that way and give him control of like a mind wash over everything and control of not just the universe but the multiverse.
Okay.
So his whole goal, his whole driving force is to find this. It's always been his driving force for that, so that's the driving force that brings him on. When Steppenwolf mentions it there, we get our first look at Darkseid, like now, not in flashback. He appears on like the big thing that they're talking through. Excuse me, and basically challenges him and like, are you sure this is here?
Yeah.
Because like he's got like, I think they mentioned he's got like so many hundreds of other worlds that he has to conquer.
50,000 before he can come back home.
Before he can get to come back home, and like, and when Darkseid finds out this is on Earth, he's like, if you're right, you can come home.
Yeah.
Like that's how big a deal this is. He's like, if you've honestly found the anti-life equation for me, your debt's gone. So that starts the hunt for the last mother box, because it's not only to tear down Earth, which was the place where Darkseid lost last time, but it's also now to get the anti-life equation. So everyone like he starts to gather people. He gathers people like Victor Stone's father and a bunch of different people who have had contact with the third mother box as they're trying to hunt it down because the thing's still not activated. The others end up activating, and that's how he finds them. So he's trying to find it, so that's how they have their first clash with him, really. And the Justice League basically come to the decision of, if we are going to fight this guy, we need Superman.
Yeah.
Cyborg, which for some reason didn't get to do this in the last movie, actually gives a bit of an explanation of what the mother boxes actually do.
Yes.
And it's basically like transposing matter, like they can change things and
I think that the
it.
example that they use in the movie says, like, if you have a match, you can turn a house into dust, but the mother box can turn a dust into a house.
Yeah, it can reverse the process. So the idea they've got is that this mother box has the energy to basically, where it could kill people, it can also raise them.
Yeah.
And that's where we get them trying to raise Superman, who comes in like about the last hour of this.
Yeah.
Like 3
of the movie. He is not in 3/4 of the movie.
Yeah, like 3 hours of this, there is no Superman pretty much the whole time. And then it becomes like raising Superman, bringing him back, the whole thing that they did before.
Can I say how much I love that black suit? Dude, that thing looks so sweet.
See, I'm not that fussed on the black suit, I'll be honest. Like, he ends
I love it, man. Because for me, I grew up with the Death of Superman comics. Like, that was my introduction to Superman. So, like, having all of that, him versus Doomsday, him dying, coming back with the mullet and the black suit, that has, like, special place in my heart.
I guess that's the thing. In the comics, they gave a reason for why he had the black suit on, like when he first came back, and then he ended up going back to his red and blue one anyway.
Yeah.
It was with this one. It was literally. Don't get me wrong. It was fan service.
Oh, absolutely.
To give him the black suit, but it was definitely a point of like he even looks at his red and blue suit on the Kryptonian ship, and then he turns around and kind of smiles, and then he puts that on, and it's like, so this one was just a case of, oh, that looks nice.
Yeah.
And
I agree. They could have explained the reasoning behind it, and they kind of show like
it
he's
felt
absorbing the sun's,
Yeah, like I felt like if he'd came back and somehow had that suit, it would have made more sense. Just I don't think it made sense in that scene, just because at the point when he puts the suit on, it's the moment where he's now got his memories back. He knows who he is.
Yeah.
And I feel like putting on the red and blue would have been like a return to form.
So that's,
sort of
that's
thing. So that's at least that's what I was thinking on it. So that's why I was kind of like, it felt like it was more meant to be an Easter egg that they just kind of, hey, let's keep it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a question that I had. Like, I still get confused. Like when he comes back, and he doesn't know anything. Like he has like amnesia. I don't understand. I don't get that. There wasn't really a good explanation for why he can't remember anything, and that still kind of throws me off. The fact that he almost murdered the entire Justice League, and they don't explain why.
I think it's just a thing of like I think it's meant to just be like one of those like things of when he comes back, like his mind has to almost reset.
Yeah.
You know, like wibbly wobbly sci-fi stuff.
I'm like, y'all could have done a way better job.
Have you ever raised someone from the dead? How do you know that doesn't happen? How do you know they don't have amnesia for? You know what I mean? That's literally the kind of explanation they give of like that. It's like that's just what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, don't
I mean,
worry.
he obviously,
Like, don't
he
worry, you got
obviously,
over it.
he obviously remembers Batman enough to want to murder him. So he obviously remembers something. Like, why is it like I don't know? It's not explained very well, in my opinion, why he does that. I mean, he just automatically gets his memories back. Like,
Yeah,
and
it's like it's just it's
he
not.
knocks it out with Lois.
Yeah, exactly. Seal wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. You know, it's like it's not explained simply because there's no way to honestly explain it. But we still have to have a cool scene where Superman fights the Justice League because it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, it's still one of the best bits in the movie for me. Even in the original, it was the best bit, and it's one of the best bits in this. Is that moment where he's got Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Cyborg on him.
That's my favorite scene in the entire movie.
Flash running around the side, and just that eye that looks to the side.
I think what makes it is Flash's reaction. He's like,
his reaction of like, wait, what? Like literally one of the best scenes in the movie. I'm like, how can an eye turn in a reaction be one of the best scenes in a Justice League movie? But it is
so good. That's so good.
But yeah, so they go off. Like Superman goes off to get his memories back. They go to fight Steppenwolf and stop the mother boxes. They go and they fight him and they struggle, and eventually like Superman shows up and destroys him, and they beat the crap out of him, take out the parademons. We see the portal opening to Apocalypse with Darkseid watching, and they throw him back through the porthole with a massive punch, and not before Wonder Woman takes his head off.
Dude, that's one of the sweetest scenes.
And the head, and I love just the disregard from Darkseid. Like he looks at them and he's like, he just like we see the head landing at his feet, and then he just puts his foot on it.
And steps on it. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, because I think Steppenwolf is related to Darkseid, right?
Yeah, he's related in some way, but like that's nothing.
So he just crushed that dude's head.
That's nothing that Darkseid would ever worry about or be concerned about in any way.
But yeah, I think the last fight, so the whole Justice League versus Steppenwolf, is amazing. Yeah, the brutalness of that fight from everyone involved is awesome.
Yeah, it's a phenomenally done fight, and it's night and day compared to the Justice League version. We don't spend half of the fight watching this random family hide under tables that Flash has to get out, and like it's so well done. And
I've been saying since day one, I think Joss Whedon was not that great of a writer. I'm just saying. I've been calling it.
Superman, the perfect superhero. I don't understand how the rest of the league doesn't really seem to understand that. Well, that's kind of the whole point of Superman, though, is he's meant to be the perfect hero. That's kind of the whole...
Although, I did have a conversation with someone earlier this week as I was thinking about comic books in general and superheroes in general, because I was in prep for the Snyder Cut. And I was thinking, if someone like Superman actually existed, who had unlimited power, I could literally do anything I want.
Yeah.
I honestly do not think that they would be like Superman.
No, well, you want to see what that's like? You want to see what that's like? Go watch Brightburn.
I know, yeah.
That's essentially...
Yeah, you're right.
Raised in this world, like, yeah, that's what they would turn out like more than likely.
Just human nature. You can do whatever you want, and you're going to hold back 99.9% of the time. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's the thing as well. Superman is such a hard character to get right. Like, there's a ton of Superman comics out there that are just crap, that aren't worth reading, because you have to get the character right. You're writing about this superpowered being, but you have to understand his humanity. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it's one of the things that Zack Snyder definitely got right.
That's one of the reasons I like Man of Steel, man.
I can't believe I'm saying that about Zack Snyder's writing. If there's anyone that you're like, don't get me wrong, we get it, he's a messiah.
Yeah.
We get it, Zack. You don't have to have him do a cross pose in every movie.
Dude, Batman versus Superman, I watched it the other day. It's like littered with Jesus imagery. I'm like, okay, we get it. I got it.
At one point, he's literally floated in space like that, and then it's like in the lowering off the cross. And then the room with the cape, and I'm like, we get it. He's
I'm like, oh my
he's a messiah allegory. We get it, Zack. We understand. That's the only thing. Is like, I was like, stop it.
Yeah, because I was trying to find articles like, what is Zack Snyder's obsession with Jesus imagery?
Yeah, because I'm like, as far as I know, like he's not religious in any way that I know of, but like he's really obsessed with putting Jesus imagery in there.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm like, but But yeah, and then of course we get, like we talked about, the half hour of epilogue
Yeah,
to,
so
to
Cross and I were
set to
talking
set up
about
for
this.
movies that might not ever happen.
So Cross and I were talking about like this, like a lot of comic book movies have after credit scene. So they broke the movie up into like 6 or 7 parts, and the last part is called epilogue, and it literally feels like 30 minutes of after credit scene. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that's not really related to each other, and not honestly really even related to the movie itself. But it's just like we have this extra stuff and we don't know what to do with it.
It's
Let's just put
basically
it
like,
in.
you know how Marvel does an end credit scene to set up what's to come.
Yeah, yeah,
It honestly felt like that, because we've talked about the DCEU before. That the DCEU feels like they tried to rush to get an Avengers level movie,
mm,
and they didn't want to put in the work to make you invest in these characters, so we just rushed
mm,
it.
yeah.
It kind of feels like that, of like that. Oh wait, we need to set up all this other stuff that we want to do. 50 end credit scenes, go. Take
Yeah.
them all.
So, what was the most surprising
Yeah, absolutely,
thing for
Seal.
you? What was the most surprising thing for you in this?
That I enjoyed it as
A
much
good,
as
a
I
good
did.
surprise.
That I enjoyed it as
You
much as I
enjoyed it.
did. Because if you've heard me talk about the original Justice League movie on this show, you know I am not a fan. I absolutely hate that movie with a passion. I am not a fan. The fact I enjoyed this. Best surprises for me, I think, were, I kind of mentioned them to you, and I kind of mentioned them earlier, were Cyborg and Steppenwolf were definites.
Mm-hmm.
The backstory for them made me honestly care about the characters, which
Yeah.
Cyborg's backstory is definitely designed to do that. I didn't think I would care about Steppenwolf as a villain, and I'm actually like, don't get me wrong, he's not phenomenal,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm invested enough. Darkseid blew me away in the little he was in. Like, Darkseid, the stuff with Darkseid alone makes me want another movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It was great. It was great.
That was a definite surprise to me. Martian Manhunter
All right. So that's what I was gonna
actually
say. So
showing up. Like, I knew the guy, the actor that was in it playing the general, it had been talked about that he was meant to be Martian Manhunter. I didn't think he was actually going to show up in this as Martian Manhunter, like
Yeah.
in full regalia, but he did twice.
So that was a surprise for me. That was what I was going to call out. So he does show up. He shows up twice. One is in the epilogue, and one is actually in the middle of the story, right before they race Superman. And I mean, as much as I thought it was awesome to see him, he did not add anything, in my opinion, to the story whatsoever.
No.
I feel like that was like 1,000%. I know you guys want a Martian Manhunter. Here he is, type thing.
Yeah, the bit in the middle of the story is definitely, hey, he's there. And I thought that's all we were going to get. And then the bit at the end,
He looks sweet though. By the way,
he does. He looks awesome. The actor's great. I cannot remember the actor's name for the life of me, but he's a great actor that they've got playing him.
Something.
That they've got playing Martian Manhunter. I'd be up for seeing more of him. The
Yeah.
epilogue scene though is like him showing up to speak to Bruce Wayne at his little like cabin on the lake thing.
Harry Lennox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like him showing up to that was very much a case of like, like most of the epilogue of like, this is to come later. Like, you bringing this team together has inspired me to come and join you in this fight because Darkseid's coming, and I'm like, that's awesome. You're like a Superman level being, arguably possibly stronger than Superman, depending how you look at things sometimes.
Yeah.
It's arguable. At no point you were aware that this fight was going on against one of Darkseid's minions, a guy who you apparently know about, that they've just found out about.
Yeah.
They don't have a clue who Darkseid is, they just know he's bad. You apparently know this guy. And at no point did you think, I should probably show up and help.
Well, it's like Captain Marvel showing up at the last 5 minutes of
Yeah.
where like you couldn't have came 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's like that. You've just been away. Like, okay, fine, But it's like it's nice that he's in there. Like, I'm glad they're doing Martian Manhunter. At the same time, I'm kind of like, are Warner Brothers really that against Green Lantern?
Yeah. All right. So that's another thing.
One of the mainstays and main characters of the Justice League. That you're literally about to add Martian Manhunter to the Justice League before Green Lantern.
Like, why did not? I mean, all right. I know that would have required a lot of addition to the movie, but like, I just don't understand why he's not. I don't understand why Green Lantern is not in the movie.
Just forgot Hal and dude John Stewart. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
I'm okay with that.
Locke. I'm like, if they're that against, like, if they're that what's the word I'm looking for? If they're that embarrassed by the original Green Lantern movie, which they should be, it's bad.
Yeah,
It's
bad.
really bad.
Awful.
If they are that embarrassed by that, you've got like 6 Green Lanterns in the comics. Pick another one.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart is one that fans that are our age absolutely adore because most of them grew up watching Justice League Unlimited. And he is the main one on that. Also, it helps get your black characters up because you've got a bunch of white characters, you want representation. Here's a phenomenal black character that you could put in the Justice League that people will know, people will recognise, and people will get. Like, I would have loved, that's what I would have popped it more. Rather than seeing Martian Manhunter show up at the end like that, you could have still had him in the middle of the movie just to know, hey, he's here. Have Jon Stewart show up at the end.
Dude, that would have been awesome.
Jon Stewart, Green Lantern, same thing. Him come out the house and him floating down and him coming to tell Bruce, like, congratulations on your victory. Sorry I just got here.
Yeah, my
But
bad.
you don't know what's coming.
One thing was,
And if he's like part of that Space Force, he can then tell them about Darkseid and what Darkseid does out there and what they're about to fight.
one really cool, like, blink and you'll miss it scene that I thought was, it was so cool. So when they did the flashback of Darkseid wrecking shop on Earth like thousands of years ago, there was a Green Lantern there, and they did show them, and they showed them fighting, but they showed Darkseid or one of his minions, whatever, killing the Green Lantern, and they showed the
ring
off,
lead.
and it paused right in front of Darkseid, and you
Darkseid went
him
like
go to
that.
grab it, and
I
it
have
flies away.
I've never seen an image in a movie that terrified me more, I think, than the thought of Darkseid
Dude,
with a Green Lantern ring with willpower. I'm like,
dude, it
oh
was
my
awesome.
goodness.
I was like, dude, he almost got the ring.
I'm like, but that's it, you set that up, and I'm like, I would have loved to see that, and I was like, and they cut the line out because in the original cut they actually said like that Earth's not protected, they no longer have a Kryptonian.
No, he did say it. He did say it.
No, he
There's
said they no
lantern.
longer have a Kryptonian, but they didn't say the
He did say
lantern.
there's no lantern either.
Did he?
He
I
said,
missed that
he said
line
it
then.
when he was talking to when Darkseid came out of the thing and he was all
Oh,
molten
I missed that part. I
wild.
caught them saying that they no longer have a Kryptonian, but like I missed the lantern thing. But like you're clearly setting up the Green Lanterns are a thing.
Yeah.
Why are you so scared to show them?
I don't know, man.
Like
Everybody wants them. I mean,
everybody wants it, and like everyone would like if you just put Jon Stewart in there, like that'd be phenomenal. Like you could still bring Martian Manhunter in. It's like, but set him up there. So yeah, but like that's an amazing thing. That could have been something awesome. So like,
should we go through the characters, the main characters?
do we want to do the characters or do we want to talk about the ending of the movie, like the very end, the nightmare?
Yeah, let's hit the nightmare stuff.
Let's do that before we do characters because that's kind of
cool.
a story. So,
Alright.
which actually this is prefaced first of all the nightmare scene. This is a continuation on from Batman v Superman, obviously when
Yeah, and
Batman
this is,
sees his world.
And this is a premonition from Bruce.
Yeah, this is a premonition, which I kind of wish it wasn't. I kind of wish they didn't do it as a premonition. I kind of wish they just stuck with the time travel thing of like this is what's going to happen sort of idea.
Okay.
And they're trying to change the future because they have it happen and then they have Bruce wake up, and I'm like, you could literally have just not had him wake up at that point, linked to that, and just set up like that. No, Darkseid's coming, and this is how bad he is. You're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And about changing that future that he keeps like thinking about. But they actually showed this. They actually did this really well because they set it up. The scene before it was the recreation of the scene of Lex Luthor in Deathstroke, which was done really good.
I love his version of Lex Luthor in that scene.
His version
That's
of Lex
what I
Luthor
want.
when he's actually being normal
Yes.
is like I'm okay with that. I can live with that Lex Luthor. Batman v Superman,
Awful.
no,
Awful. I
no
agree.
more of him.
I agree.
But like that version of him, and I love that they changed it as well. It wasn't about making the Injustice League. It was literally about helping Deathstroke. Like, hey, you're after Batman. Like, yeah, he's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Okay, we can deal. And it's like I love that they changed it to that because you don't need another big group to face the Justice League because they're still dealing with Darkseid coming. You don't need this, hey, there's this random group on Earth. We're coming for you.
Yeah.
And I love that they juxtapositioned that with the very next scene of in a world where Darkseid wins, none of that matters. Because Batman shows up and when he gives the all clear, one of the people that come out of hiding is Deathstroke.
So and that's one thing I don't understand. So not growing up with any Deathstroke comics. I mean, I had Batman comics and stuff like that, but Deathstroke wasn't a big thing, or at least with the ones that I read. So like what is the possibility of him like working together with Batman? I just don't get that. I don't understand what would I don't know.
Well, that's the whole thing. The whole thing is meant to be like this is the in the Nightmare universe. Like that's what happens when Darkseid wins.
Yeah.
Like when Darkseid wins,
Mm-hmm.
like that's what the mother boxes do. They completely wreck the planet. They kill most of the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's that thing of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, yeah, I could keep fighting you and having this petty little squabble, but like I kill people for contracts and make money, and right now there's this alien that's living on the planet that's completely decimated everything and is harvesting humans to be parademons and just killing people, and it's not really worth it.
Yeah.
So like they're going to work together. But I love the mashup of characters that we got there, because we had like Batman, and then we had like Deathstroke, and we had Mira, which was a shock.
Yeah.
Like apparently like they hinted at Aquaman's dead, or like he's been tortured or being imprisoned, something like that, so she's fighting for him. Cyborg's still there. And then of course we get the reveal that Joker's with them,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm like, you have to give us something. And Flash as well, obviously. Sorry, I'm missing Flash.
And he's wearing. A good point is Flash is wearing the suit that he has in the that scene where he comes to Bruce in his Batcave.
Yeah, and like
That
Lois,
weird, unexplained scene in Batman.
yeah, but he's like
Superman.
Lois Lane is the key.
Yeah,
Because like
he's wearing that same suit.
yeah, because a lot of the talk was like Lois Lane's the key, or that must be the key to like getting Superman back and stuff. But apparently she plays a bigger role. And I did say this to Nitro. I did say, seeing that version of Flash just standing there, it gave more credence to the mess that is Batman v Superman. And I will say this up front: that is not a good movie. I do not think it's a good movie. I think it's a mess. But I can see the stuff that was being put in place.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. That was one of the big ones for me. Like I didn't realize that was Flash at first until I went and read stuff afterwards. Like I didn't even know what was going on with that.
Yeah.
And I thought the nightmare scene was so out of place. But seeing this ending of this one made me realize that this is meant to be a 3-part
Yeah.
like story. Like Man of Steel was there and it was its own thing. But take every other DC movie as its own thing. Like technically Wonder Woman's connected, technically Aquaman's connected, but they're not important.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 3-part movie story. Batman v Superman, Justice League 1, and Justice League 2. Hey, Mountain Nerd in the house. How is it going, Caleb? If you've been here for any length of time, you know the Mountain Nerd podcast are good friends of ours. Go and show them some love.
So Locke's blowing up chat. Let me go to chat real quick. So he said, give us Sinestro to let us set up for his Switch later. That is another option.
Yeah.
Let it be Green Lantern at first, then has John Stewart. Yeah, I agree. The terrifying. I think you're referring to the Darkseid getting the ring. Yeah, that was awesome.
That's a great scene.
Yeah, the loss of Deathstroke in yeah. Yeah, and I didn't really like I didn't like at all Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal of Lex Luthor. It was a really weird and just not approachable character. That was easily one of the worst parts of Batman vs Superman, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Like it definitely wasn't a good portrayal. I don't know why that's not done a shout out for Caleb, and then my thing is blocking me, so I can't actually read it. So if you want to click on the Mountain Nerds, go ahead and do that and give them a follow, because for some reason the shout out's not working for that. There we go. I think, Caleb, did you change your name of the thing for a while? It's like, because like I feel like the name's changed and that might be what's messing it up. But yeah. So yeah, the first. Oh, it was spelt wrong, was it? There we go. I just saying about his Lex felt too much like he was trying to play Joker to me. Yeah, it was very Joker-esque, and not a good Joker even at that.
No, it was very spazzy, which is one of the things I don't like about. So I love Ezra Miller as the Flash, but one of the things that I don't like is when he's like it's all spazzy, you know. I don't know how else to explain it, but I felt like Jesse Eisenberg kind of did the same thing with his Lex Luthor in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah,
and it just completely takes me out of the movie.
Yeah, absolutely, and But yeah, so let's for the nightmare scene. So this was all set up. I feel like this was part of 3 things. So we have the whole group here that are fighting against them, and then of course we get the reveal. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Batman and the Joker, Jared Leto's Joker.
According to some, one of the best interactions between Batman and Joker on film.
Yeah, same with me, Caleb. We'll get into that. But yeah, according to some, this is the best Joker put on film, and this including Suicide Squad. The people have literally watched this 5-minute scene and said this was the best Joker they've ever seen, and the best interaction between Batman and Joker they've ever seen. I am not one of those people.
No, me neither.
I am not one of those people. Like, do not get me wrong. It is way better than Suicide Squad Joker.
Mm-hmm.
I despise Suicide Squad Joker.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a fan. I know he has his fans out there. More power to you. I am not. I cannot stand that version of Joker.
Agreed.
This version is way better. It is a good version of Joker. It's definitely not the worst, but he is not the best.
It's way better than Suicide Squad. Like, it's like a night and day.
Yeah, like I've heard people compare this to, like you'd said it to me as well, like that people are comparing it to like Heath Ledger's Joker. I don't think it's better than that.
No, I mean, I think one of the best interactions that we've had between Batman and Heath Ledger, or I'm sorry, between Batman and Joker on film,
Batman and Heath Ledger.
Batman and Heath Ledger, was the interrogation scene in Dark Knight. I mean, I don't know. That entire interaction was their reason for existence for each other. This is why they exist. You need me, I need you. You know, you.
Which
can't
that's the
hurt me,
epitome
I
of.
can't hurt you.
That's the epitome
That's
of Batman and Joker. You need
yeah, that's
that.
what they are. In that one scene, he's playing the detective. You know, it's a perfect Batman versus Joker scene, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to top that. It's gonna be really difficult.
Absolutely, and like Heath Ledger's. His version of Joker is phenomenal, and we kind of talked about this earlier when Redstone was putting some of the versions of it. We've mentioned it, like, yeah, there's definitely every person who's ever played the Joker plays him in a very different way. Heath Ledger's is a very, very specific way of playing Joker, and it is a phenomenal version.
Yeah.
And it will be hard for people to top. There's not many versions that do. I do think Heath Ledger's version is better than Jared Leto's.
Oh, absolutely.
I think a lot of people are saying it's on par with Mark Hamill's Joker, which I would say, are you freaking nuts? Part of me, like, maybe I'm looking at that through nostalgia goggles, but like anytime even now, if I go back and watch Mark Hamill's Joker, like, he is the epitome of what a good Joker is.
Yeah.
Of the best Joker. Like, it's not even close to that. I don't know who thinks he's better than Mark Hamill's Joker, and I'm like, Mark Hamill encompasses everything the Joker needs to be for me. And
yeah,
then,
I think for me,
then one we didn't mention as well when we were talking about that people didn't compare him to, but like, if you're talking about best Jokers ever, are you really not going to mention Joaquin Phoenix?
I know.
I'm like, hey, PT Stress in the house. How is it going, PT? Welcome on in. Woo. I'm clicking all sorts of buttons.
I think for me, like, it's a really tight top 3 for me. I still like Heath Ledger's Joker. I think he's probably my favorite. I think a very, very, very close second is Mark Hamill, because I grew up with him. And then a very, very, very close third is Joaquin Phoenix. Like, it's super tight. Like, they could switch in and out.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things, like, any day you could ask me and I might have a different answer for you on that one. Yeah, good. I'm glad you're doing well, PT. Yeah, we're doing good, man. Talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, just hanging out, man. Just getting into some of the nitty-gritty of it. But yeah, I think those 3, without a doubt, are better than Jared Leto's. I think this version of Jared Leto's is good. I did enjoy it. It's definitely a little bit manic. Not as reserved as other versions of him, which I think is okay because it's the Nightmare universe, so you can imagine things are a bit more crazy and chaotic. There's definite elements where I'm like, he's just trying to channel Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
There's definitive moments where I'm like, that's a Heath Ledger way of speaking. He tries to talk in a calm way like that and take his time, and I'm like, that was how Heath Ledger portrayed his Joker.
Yeah.
That was not how you did your Joker. You're 100% trying to use that.
Hmm.
Um, not that it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to emulate other people, but I'm kind of, you can't say it's better than that version when he's literally copying that version.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't get how people are saying it's the best interaction between Joker and
I don't
Batman.
know. I mean, to be honest, I don't
It's
know if
not
we've had.
even that good an interaction. Like he starts saying stuff that gets under Batman's skin. Like we're clearly in a
He
world.
insinuates he's talking. He's like making fun of how he killed Robin, right?
Yeah, because like he talks about the fact of like how people seem to keep dying in his arms and stuff,
Hmm.
and like try to get under his skin. Talks about the death of his parents and stuff. He knows that he's Bruce Wayne. Like
Hmm.
they very clearly mention the Joker now knows that he's Bruce Wayne because, again, I guess in the Nightmare world, none of that stuff really matters.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I don't understand why he's still wearing the Batman costume in that case.
well, I
But
think that's
whatever.
I think that's the case of because like first of all, tactical, you're fighting parademons. It's probably helpful.
Oh, that's true.
And second of all, it kind of I think it plays into the whole thing that they talk about that I've heard people talking about the day Bruce Wayne's parents died in that alley, so did Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Like Batman isn't his alter ego, Bruce Wayne is. He is
That makes sense.
Batman. Batman is who he is. Like I think in the comics at one point they even did that. Like Wonder Woman used the lasso of truth on him and Superman
Hmm.
and asked who they were, and Superman said Clark Kent. Because even though he's an alien from another world, at his heart he is Clark Kent. That's who he is. He's a good person with a good heart.
Mm.
And Batman said Batman.
Yeah.
Because Bruce Wayne isn't a real person. He is Batman. Bruce Wayne
Yeah.
is 100% the cover.
Hmm.
So I think that's the main reason for that. But he clearly knows his past, and then he starts almost like pushing his buttons with the Robin and the fact of a kid dying in his arms and stuff, hinting back
Hmm.
to again Batman v Superman when we saw the Robin costume,
Yeah.
hinting at the death of Jason Todd. And then Batman even hits back in the fact of like the Harley Quinn's dead as well, and she died in his arms,
Yeah.
and said basically to take him out painfully,
Yeah.
take out
He
the
said, "I will effing kill you." Basically, were Batman's words. So Batman did drop the F word.
yeah, that's all right. And Batman drops the F word, and I'm like, yeah, that's edgy. Like, yeah, Batman said the
Yeah.
F word. Good
Mm.
job. You've caught up with Dick Grayson and Titans now.
Oh my gosh.
It's like F Batman. It's like Batman now saying,
Okay. Okay. We get it. We're all adults here.
it's like we get it. We're edgy. We can say cuss words. Ooh, and I'm like, and it's like the interactions like that, and then Deathstroke even kind of says to him, "Why the heck did you bring him? Are you still
Yeah.
happy he's here?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, I kind of hope like I'm saying this like there's going to be another movie. We don't know if there's going to be, but like I kind of hope. I have no clue, look, if Titans is worth watching.
It's on HBO Max.
We literally got HBO Max this week to watch this, so it is on
Hmm.
my list of stuff to binge. I watched this, and I literally the only other major thing I've been watching is Batman Beyond.
Hmm.
I've been watching that at night because it's short episodes and I can binge it. But Titans is definitely next on my list, so I'll let you know if it's worth checking out. I'm excited to check it out actually because I love the Titans. They're one of my favorite teams. Um, but yeah, so like I kind of hope if they do get another chance, they'll explain why the heck Joker's around. Because even if
Yeah.
even if it's a world where like all the villains and heroes are just teaming together,
Hmm.
I get Deathstroke working with them. Deathstroke's a survivalist. If that's the best way to survive against Darkseid, he's going to do it. And
Yeah.
the man has a ridiculous amount of talents. Like the man can go toe to toe with Batman.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And arguably win.
Hmm.
You know, so it's like, of course they've got him around. Of course Batman's going to trust a guy that he knows, I don't have to watch your back in a fight. You can handle yourself.
Yeah.
You know, why have you brought Joker? Unless there's a reason.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
It's like he's a wild card, and I'm like, he's not a wild card that's in your favour, though. Unless you have a plan. So I'm like, it was an interesting interaction. I think it does redeem Jared Leto as an actor for the Joker. I would consider it a good portrayal.
Hmm.
It's definitely a good portrayal.
It wasn't off-putting. I'll put it that way. It was
Yeah.
not off-putting like Suicide Squad was.
Yeah, absolutely not. I think it is a good portrayal. I think it's a. Is it the best? No, but it's a believable that he is playing the Joker.
Hmm.
It's believable as a version of the Joker that I would quite happily see more of if we saw more of the Nightmare universe.
Yeah.
Going forward, I would quite happily see more of that. In saying that, I think it was okay.
Yeah.
Like I'm a
I
lot
agree.
more. I'm a lot more excited to see the rest of the Nightmare universe than I am about Batman and Joker there. Like, I want to see this world that we've seen such little clips of it.
Yeah.
But this ending kind of fleshed it out for me in the fact of like, okay, so we're definitely getting a glimpse of Bruce is getting a glimpse from the future, and the fact that he saw Barry coming back would tell me the fact of like, this is the future.
Yeah.
That they're trying to stop. Like, this is what happens.
Yeah. And I mean, they insinuated that Lois has died. Lois has died, not Lois. Lois has died.
Yeah.
And, you know, you see Superman in that nightmare scene. Like, he shows up.
Yeah, and then we see him right at the end. He shows up, and he's clearly working for Darkseid.
Yeah.
So that gets fleshed out a little bit more as well. And they really play on the point of the Lois is key.
Yeah. Oh,
not just bringing Superman back, but there's something else that she's key for.
Another, like, it's not really a blink and you'll miss it scene, because they kind of linger on it a bit. Lois is in her apartment, and she opens a drawer, and there's a pregnancy test, and the camera just stays on it. And Zack Snyder, right before this stream, Zack Snyder came out basically and said, yeah, she's pregnant in that movie. So, just FYI, throwing it out there.
Did you see what people were apparently talking about that? Because people have been posting that in one iteration, apparently it was meant to be like Superman and Lois's son would become the next Batman.
Huh.
At least that was what one site was posting, and then I seen tons of comments correcting it, saying the original report was that it wasn't Superman and Lois's son that became the next Batman. It was actually Batman and Lois's son.
Really? Ew.
So I'm like, that's been making the rounds like crazy. I don't know which of them
together.
I don't know which of them. Is it maybe like, did they spend the night together after he died? Did he go to try and comfort her and then decided, I'll comfort you in bed? And she got pregnant, you know? So I'm like, I don't know which one was the original vision. I don't know which one might play out. I don't know if any of them will actually become Batman, because in the Nightmare universe, he's still Batman. Yeah. So unless he ends up dying and this one takes his place, I don't know. But yeah, that's been doing the rounds. I'm like, okay. Alright, so do we want to talk quickly about some characters then? Because we are like almost at the 2 hour
we got like
mark
20
already.
minutes left. So I'll hit real quickly just some high level notes that I had for the characters. So and this is compared to Justice League. Alright, so I feel like Batman is the MVP of this movie, and by MVP I mean, like, I feel like his character is 100% fleshed out. He comes across as the leader of the Justice League. He has compassion when he needs to have compassion. He's brutal when he needs to be brutal. And he just comes across as really good. Again, you can see Ben Affleck gain and lose weight throughout the movie, so you can tell it's been shot over the course of like 3 years or whatever. But that aside, I think Batman is probably my favorite part of the movie, because I feel like they did a really good job with him. I'm still not a fan of Momoa as Aquaman. There's a way less dude bro than Justice League. They made him it came across a little bit more serious, and he had a little bit more stuff in this one.
Yeah.
And I liked him better in this movie. Again, still not a fan of Momoa. Cyborg and Flash were awesome. I love I personally like Ezra Miller as Flash, but I am not a Flash like fan. Like, I didn't grow up with Flash, so I don't know a ton about like Barry Allen and stuff like that. I do agree he comes across as too manic at times, but I really like the scene with him around the pet store with Iris West, even though it really didn't add a ton to the story. I really love Cyborg Arc. Coming from a dude, me personally, who didn't really have a dad growing up, so seeing that dad-son struggle and trying to overcome that, and then kind of seeing it go full circle at the end, I thought was really cool, and it added much needed depth to Cyborg, and I was really pumped to see that. Superman is Superman. I think they did a good job with him. His fight at the end when he fought Steppenwolf was bananas. All right, so there's one scene. All right, I gotta see this one scene. So I think it's Batman, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman are just getting the brakes beat off of them from Steppenwolf. They're just getting their heads hammered in. And this is when Superman shows up at the very end.
Oh, so good.
And so Steppenwolf is coming down with the axe on Wonder Woman, his ginormous axe. And Superman swoops in, and the axe just hits him in the shoulder. And he just looks at it and he goes, I'm not impressed. Dude, it's so sweet. And then he blows his breath on it and breaks it, and then he just beats the brakes off
Yeah,
Steppenwolf.
so good.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, those are the main points that I had. I feel like they really fleshed out Batman, Flash, and Cyborg. I felt like their stories are way more fleshed out in this one. I felt like it added a lot to the movies. Wonder Woman, she was Wonder Woman. They made her a little bit more brutal in this and gave her a little bit more backstory with the
Yeah.
Amazonians and stuff
Not
like
much
that.
though, but we got a
Not
lot
much.
of her in the movie already. Like, plus you didn't need to do a lot with her because at this point she's already had her own movie and was in
Yeah.
Batman v Superman, so you didn't need to do a whole ton of backstory with her really.
Yeah, I did like the scene with her at the bank when those people were robbing the bank. That was awesome. That was awesome. But yeah, man, those are my high level stuff.
Yeah, so for me, definitely, I enjoyed Batman still. I think Ben Affleck's a really good Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I will be honest, I still struggle seeing him as Bruce Wayne when he's out of suit.
I agree.
It's like I see him as Bruce Wayne and I'm like, it's Ben Affleck. Like I'm completely lost. When he's in the Batman suit, I think he looks phenomenal. He looks the part. He looks great. He plays it perfectly. He plays Bruce Wayne as best he can, but I can't not see Ben Affleck.
Yeah,
that's just my personal thing. But he is good as a character. I think he done really well. We got some good fleshing out.
Mm-hmm.
My only major issue was I felt like, again, like we talked about Superman with the Messiah complex, Zack Snyder used Batman to really push that.
Yeah.
Like, we still weren't given a massive reason as to why he was so determined to hold this promise to Superman. That's more of an issue, I think, though, that came with Batman v Superman. Like, he was so against it for so long, and then it's like he almost went completely opposite end.
Yeah.
And there still wasn't really a reason to go that far to the other end. And he even said it to Alfred, like, why are you so sure about it? So he's like, have faith. I'm like,
yeah.
Not even close to a Batman line. Batman doesn't have faith. Batman analyzes everything.
Yeah.
You can get it across in a way that works for me. That was very much, I felt like that was pushing, like, of course they have faith. They're his disciples because he's a messiah. Do you get it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, we get it, Zach. You know, that's my only thing. There was a couple of bits like that, but overall, yeah, Batman still thoroughly enjoyable. I like Ben Affleck's Batman. I think he's a great casting choice. I'll be honest, same as before. Like I was completely against it when I heard they announced it, and then I seen him, and like, yeah, he works.
Oh, I think what cemented it for me was that third act with him and the parademons, and him going into that Russian site or that site or whatever. Like his entire attitude and the way that he did that.
Yeah,
like, dude, that is sick.
Him just going straight in there, straight into the midst of it all.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was phenomenal.
He was he was prepared to die.
He was phenomenal. Aquaman, I think, was a lot better in this version than he was in the original. I'm kind of like you. It's like I'm not a massive fan of Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I like the guy well enough. I think he'd be great as a DC character. I just don't think Aquaman is the right one. Yeah, I mean, the dude looks like Lobo. How has he not been cast as Lobo? He looks
identical to Lobo.
Yeah, like how has he not been cast as Lobo?
How was that a miss?
But yeah, like overall, I preferred him in this. We didn't do the whole dude bro thing over the top, so it made it a lot more enjoyable, more serious. We got a little bit more backstory, him talking about his dad, him talking about his mom, a bit more interaction with Mira. So we got a lot of bits and pieces that kind of helped build the backstory. We got a good conversation with him and Vulko, to help build the story a little bit. That obviously led into Aquaman.
Yeah.
I think it was a good enough build for that. I wasn't invested in the characters. Depends how much you love his version of Aquaman. Locks in line considers
Momoa exactly like Lobo, except without white skin.
Yeah, like exactly. Like literally, you would have just had to put the makeup on him to give him like the white skin like Lobo, and then put his like the face paint on, and he's Lobo. He looks just like
Lobo.
You know,
I mean, literally, all the characters that he plays is basically Lobo, just in different versions.
Yeah, pretty much. Cyborg, 100% one of the MVPs of this movie for me. His backstory, like, I don't know how we went from the original cut having all this story to when Joss Whedon took over, basically removing every bit of story and heart that was there, because I got so invested in Cyborg and his story, the relationship with him and his dad, even his dad killing himself, and why he did it to activate the box and superheat it so that they could track it, everything like that, and him like reconciling with his dad. And even Cyborg, when he finds out, you know, when we first see him, he still wants to try and help people when he starts unlocking his powers.
Yeah.
Like he sees a struggling mom with the kids and not getting enough money, and he moves bank account information to give them money so that they can survive, and like
Yeah.
all these little things that you see him doing, like, and it really gets over in a digital age like this. Cyborg is basically as big a threat to the world as somebody like Superman, just in a completely different way. Like he could crash the economy of a country, he can help out people by giving them the cash, he can move things around, he can fire missiles, he can do all these things, he has access to everything.
I will say a good portion of the Snyder Cut, a good portion of the additions to the Snyder Cut is literally just Cyborg's story.
Cyborg's backstory, but it makes you care about the character. Like, I love this
like
character.
How much he... Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off.
No, absolutely, man, absolutely. I've always found Cassie Momoa as Kraven the Hunter. He'd be good Kraven as well, actually. He'd be perfect for Kraven the Hunter.
You know what? I know this is bad.
If you say Shia LaBeouf, by the way, I'm ending your call.
No. I'm obviously not an actor, but I don't feel like Momoa is that great of an actor.
How good of an actor do you need to be Kraven the Hunter, though? Like, really? Or Lobo?
I don't know, man.
Drinking, swearing, fighting, like...
Well, Lobo is a different story because he's like a caricature almost. But
you alright? You get the words out there, okay?
Shut up.
You want to take another shot at that one there, mate?
Oh gosh.
Okay, on to one of my big ones, The Flash. I hated The Flash in the original one. In this one, he's okay.
Yeah.
I will settle for okay.
Okay.
First half of the movie, I hated him. I think I even said that to you. Like, I hate this character.
Yeah.
Like, because we still got all the stupid crap with Bruce Wayne and him talking. I get he's fast and he mumbles over his words, and because he's talking so fast, and I'm like, that shouldn't be a thing because his mind and mouth should be able to keep up with each other, so that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Never mind that though. We get the whole scene of like him going for a job in a pet place, dog walking place, whatever the heck he's doing. It's not explained, never comes up again, randomly pointless, stupid excuse for him to bump into Iris West. Why is it Iris West? Because we know it's Iris West because they told us on social media. Did they tell us who she is in the movie? No. Why should we care? Some random good looking chick.
Yeah.
The interaction with him and the shop assistant, like him all over the place and him crazy, and I get it's meant to be he's been so focused on the stuff with his dad that he's all over the place with this stuff. It came across partly like they were trying to portray somebody that kind of had ADD or somebody that had autism, but they didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you watch like Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander, and like like he's literally said like, yeah, I've tried to portray like Newt Scamander as autistic. And he does a really good job of that. He does a really good job of portraying those characteristics. I felt like this was an attempt at that, but done badly.
Yeah. Okay.
Personally, like they tried to get it across like that, and then even the stuff like of him going out to save her and stuff. Yeah, it was cool. Why did he have to break the window and the door? Fastest man alive. You don't have a nanosecond to open the door of the place that you're trying to get a job. Don't get me wrong, it's a cool visual that you like smashing through the window and stuff. Like, not needed, not needed at all. Saved her, that was cool. And then it's like, and he grabbed a hot dog from a hot dog thing that was turned to like, get the dogs to love him and stuff. I'm like, oh look how good this is, and I'm like, you are so irritating. It is ridiculous. Then we got to the second half of the movie, and he was good because he was mellowed out. He got better. Like the last scene for him that was awful for me is the scene where they meet Commissioner Gordon. He goes, "Oh wow, they just disappeared."
Yeah,
that's rude. Shut up and go away.
See, I like that. So I think for me, you have stoic Batman, you have stoic Wonder Woman, you have stoic Aquaman, you have stoic Superman, you have stoic Cyborg. I like the addition of someone who is not another stoic superhero. I like the tilt on the head of the personality a little bit. I agree with you. It does get irritating at times, but I think overall,
I'm not against having a bit of comedic relief on the Justice League. It is a very stoic movie, but at the same time, that's the way the DCEU movies have presented themselves.
True, that's true. Yeah.
Like, whereas Marvel has presented that there is a comedic tone to certain elements of it, DCEU has presented themselves as very serious, which isn't a bad thing. That's how they portray themselves and try to be different.
My wife was super disappointed that the lasso scene was gone with Aquaman.
Oh, with Aquaman, yeah.
I was like, no, it's gone.
It is gone. It had to go.
Yeah.
Also, oh yeah, look, getting the gifted sub for Dulcinea Acumen. Maybe it was the wrong word, but it was funny to me anyway. Yeah. Weird you go to Redmayne considering Miller was in Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, it's like I always found that weird, but like that's the first example that jumps to mind of an actor trying to portray someone autistic in a role as that, and just so happens Ezra Miller's in that as well, playing another character that's a bit off kilter, funnily enough. But in the second half of the movie, I did enjoy his Flash. I think it makes me like I'm excited for a second Justice League with him because I think he works better tempered with other characters. It makes me worried for the Flash movie when he's the main point of it that he's going to become very annoying very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and also as well for the comic book purist of me, which of course not every character has to be like their comic book counterpart. We get different iterations of characters all the time. He is not Barry Allen.
Yeah.
He is not an iteration of Barry Allen or even Wally West. In fact, it was only today I seen someone posting it and I shared it on social media. His personality actually reminds me more of Bart Allen, Barry's grandson from the future who comes back. Mostly better known as Impulse, but is also Kid Flash and the Flash at one point for a brief time. He does actually become the Flash. So yeah, 100%. Like, he's got that personality trait, so it's not out there for a character to have that. But then again, Bart Allen, there was a reason for that because Bart Allen had like a super growth thing and was like a teenager within a few days. In the comics, so like he is always on that super hyper train.
Yeah.
But I get why they tried to harness that for a speedster. But in the same way, Bart can be really annoying as hell if he's not tempered as well.
Yeah.
But in the second half of this movie, when he was tempered, I really enjoyed the Flash. I thought he brought a good bit of levity to it, but you also got to see his power, and then we got to see him unleash as well in a scene that we didn't actually talk about.
Yeah.
At the end of this movie, Steppenwolf wins.
Yeah.
At one point, he gets
the world.
The mother boxes almost like come together and they synchronize, and the world starts to blow up. And in that split moment, Barry starts running. Although I will say this, I hate the freaking effects they use for him running. He's got this weird, bizarre run, and they do that thing where like when someone's running super fast, but like they're running in like slow mo, and everything around them is even slower. And I'm like, that was so drawn out. Like he's reaching the speed of light. He hasn't moved.
Yeah.
Give me something like lightning flashing around him doesn't tell me he's moving at the speed of light. Please give me another effect. I will say that like that's the worst effect in it for me. I like that because it's like it just looks like he's standing still. I'm literally watching nothing happening. But he runs at the speed of light and he actually reverses time and he manages to get to Cyborg before they're synchronized, zaps him with the lightning that he was trying to do earlier and failed at, and they're able to split them apart. Him and Cyborg and Superman are able to split them apart and stop it, which I'm like, okay, that was awesome giving him a scene like that and showing...
Yeah.
Because the Flash is technically... is potentially the most powerful person in the DC universe. Potentially with what he can do, he is the most powerful person.
Yeah.
You know, it's what speedsters can do is ridiculous, and I would love to see more of that explored. Like, it says that like Barry can dodge a bullet that's already hit his skin.
Dang.
Because by the time the bullets hit him, he still has the time to move out the road as soon as he feels it tap him. Like he's able to move at that speed. Like I watched what was it, one of the animated movies, Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. And it's literally a follow up to Flashpoint Paradox, one of the other animated ones where Eobard Thawne gets shot in the back of the head by the alternative Batman, and he's alive in this movie. But like he takes his mask off and he's got a hole in his head. And he has slowed his body down to the point of he's able to preserve his dying body and prolong that for weeks, and of course every time he has to use his power he gets closer to death, but he's been able to prolong it, and I'm like, that's the out of the box crap I want to see speedsters doing in these movies. I'm like, of course they can do that.
Dude, that's crazy.
Why not? Like, I want crazy crap like that from the Flash. So throwing in the time travel thing, I think awesome, opening the door to what Barry Allen can do.
One thing I think it's worth mentioning, because he mentions it multiple times in the movie, that Barry Allen has a rule that he doesn't break the time barrier. Or
which tells me at some point he has.
Yeah.
Which tells me at some point you have, and you screwed up something and you're just not telling people.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of his rule of, like, we don't break the time barrier, because we don't break the speed of light, because if we do that, bad things happen and that can change things in the past and mess up the future. Which, of course, I think is maybe that's what Flashpoint's going to end up being, not something he's about to do, but something he did already. Which would be interesting. But I'm glad they included that. I really am. Oh. I mean, typically they don't remember the...
I don't know why I blocked that.
I don't know. It keeps doing this.
This Automod is just going... You need to calm down, Automod. Just calm down.
Yeah, Skeets is going crazy today. I don't know what's going on with him.
Skeets, why don't you sit the next couple plays out there, buddy? Okay?
But yeah, so overall, I do like his Flash. I'm intrigued, because I said crazy. Apparently not. That one didn't get auto-modded. What? I don't know what it's doing.
Nope.
Oh. I'm going to say Nitro keeps hitting the word crazy. Automod bans him. But yeah, so like, I'm looking forward to seeing more of his portrayal and seeing what they do with him. Just tone him back a bit. The way he is at the start of the movie, I'm like, I can let it go if this is like the beginning of Flash and he now becomes more of what he's meant to be. I'm like, okay, as long as it's kind of filtered like that, I'm fine with that.
I do like the underlying narrative with Flash in this movie. He just wants to be a part of a team, and like he'll do anything to help.
I do kind of like that they still kept that in. Like, that's like, I'm putting together a team. It's like, stop right there, I'm in.
I'm in. Yeah.
What, really? I don't have any friends. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, that was still. That's the thing. There is moments like that where I'm like, yeah, that is actually still funny.
But like, there's multiple points where he has to kind of step up and be the lead of the Justice League, kind of, and he does it like, not without question, but like he eventually like gets into it. So I like that.
I definitely have foreseen more of what they do. And then last big character I kind of want to talk about, the last main character, Wonder Woman. As I've said, I kind of agree with Nitro on that. There's nothing much more to say. We get her fleshed out. She's amazing. Gal Gadot's phenomenal in the role. She's beautiful, gorgeous, talented, kicks ass in this movie. Like, yeah, she's awesome. But the other big character, I think, along with Cyborg, are the ones that got the biggest glow up in this movie, is literally our villain, Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
I think we need to give credit to Steppenwolf in this movie and the way he was portrayed, and the fact of, like, he was a nothing villain. He was awful.
Yeah.
You look like me if I... Funky Finster, you look like me if I looked like you.
Alright.
Oh, you must be pretty gorgeous then.
Don't give him a bigger head than he already has, Funky Finster.
Here's how you're from Dundee. Not from Dundee, from just outside of Glasgow. Not for Dundee, I'm not that far north. I'm assuming Funky Finster's Scottish as well then. But yeah, so the big final one for this one is 100% Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf was such a glow up in this movie. He was a worthwhile villain. Like, even the look of him, I'm like, I think I said it to you. I don't know if I said it earlier in chat. That's okay, I hate Dundee. Hey, Funky Finster coming in with that follow. Welcome to the Comic Clan. This is the way.
This is the way.
Welcome on in. Yeah, where were you from anyway, Funky? Where are you coming from? So glad that you were able to pop in and check us out. Hey, that one's working. I don't know what's going on with the other ones then. I'll need to have a look at them. But yeah, so like, he definitely got a glow up. He definitely was a much bigger threat. The look of him, like, I even looked at it, like, I didn't realize. I thought, oh, the armor definitely looks better and stuff. But seeing the two pictures side by side, it's like, wow, his head is actually bigger.
Yeah.
Like his head, his
the horns
build,
angled back to give him more like a menacing.
Yeah, and I love the armor as well. The fact it was almost like this moving mesh that was alive. From Inverness. Ah, well, welcome on in, a fellow Scotsman in the house, or Scots lady, depending. Saying Scotsman because I am one, so I just went that way. But welcome on in. So glad to have you in, Funky Finster. But yeah, like even the fight scenes, though, he was brutal. He was dominating. He was
scary, yeah.
He was a scary villain, but he was also a sympathetic villain because you realize, like, I don't know what he did. We never get an exact thing of what he did. We just know he took some sort of stand or choice or decision against Darkseid.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, out of line with what Darkseid wanted. It wasn't even necessarily against him. Because I feel like if it was against him, Darkseid would have just...
Yeah.
But, like, and he was, like... I almost felt like it was, like, a Prince Zuko from, like, Avatar, of, like, that, go out there and do this to regain your honor.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, sort of moment. Like, you
Yeah,
can
that's a
come
really
back...
good call-out.
You can come back if you do this. And it does make the character a bit more sympathetic, because you're like... He completely and wholeheartedly bows down to Darkseid. He is completely awe of his master, and he just wants to go home.
Yeah.
And he is willing to destroy as many worlds as he has to get it, and he wants to claim Earth and get the mother boxes back for him to do it. And it's like, it's awesome to watch. It's phenomenal to see him played out like that. And then the fight scene, like you talked about, the fight scene with him and Superman at the end is phenomenal. Which again, kind of agreement with you. I love Henry Cavill's Superman. I forgot to mention Superman, but like he's awesome in this movie.
Awesome.
He's back on par. I've always been a fan.
That one part where he's standing on Steppenwolf's chest and he's using his glowy eyes. I like to call them. And he basically saws off part of Steppenwolf's head.
He saws off the helmet, and then you realise that's the shape of his head, and he's actually sawing off like part of the head.
I'm like, holy crap! He just cut part of his head off.
It's like,
it was awesome.
Steppenwolf was such a great villain, and I think he was a great setup for Darkseid. Because they made him an intimidating villain, but at the same time they built it to the point of, like, Darkseid is so much worse.
Yeah.
It's like, overall, I was very impressed with this movie. Overall, I think this was it's 100% better than the original.
I definitely have to watch it again, because I feel like I missed. There was a lot of hype, and there was some anticipation going into it, so I feel like I missed a lot of stuff, especially at the beginning. I
kind of want to watch it again, but I kind of also want to let it settle just now. And watch it when the hype's kind of died down to go on, because there's a lot of hype and excitement around this. Yeah. And I want to watch it like as is and check it out. And I also want to go back, and you watched Batman v Superman's Ultimate Cut before it. I want to go back and watch it in conjunction with that. I just watched the movie straight out. To see it, because I honestly do believe it is like Zack Snyder's. This was his like 3-part epic. Because like Man of Steel was his as well, but it was so far before. It was like 3 years before Batman v Superman came out. So I definitely want to go back and check it out. But if you've got HBO Max or you're thinking about getting it to at least check this out, I would recommend it. I would recommend going and checking this out if you're a fan of superhero movies, comic book movies, DC movies. It's definitely worth checking out. Don't worry, like just go ahead and throw out if you own like the Justice League Blu-ray or DVD or anything.
Dude, there's going to be pictures of people burning their copies once this comes out on disc. All right, so I got a question. I got a question for you. So I know we're at time, but what do you think happens next with Warner Brothers and the DCEU? Do you think this changes the trajectory of where it was before?
When you asked it earlier, you asked it kind of in 2 parts. I want to answer it kind of in the 2 parts. Yeah. I want it to change things. Because they're getting nothing but great reviews from this. Even the bad reviews are still pretty good. Like the ones that aren't as good as the rest are still fairly high ranked. It shows there's definitely an audience for it. There's definitely people that want to see the next part of it. I'm one of them. I want to see the next part of Justice League now. I was done with the DCEU after the last Justice League. I'm like, I could care less. Yeah. Even some of the other ones I'm not massive fans of. Aquaman's okay. A lot of people adore Wonder Woman. I thought it was a decent origin movie, but I thought they could have done more with it, But like I was kind of like, yeah, you aren't hitting it for me. But this really made me appreciate what can be done. Yeah. And I want to see where they would go with it. Whether or not Warner Brothers will do that, though, I don't know. I know they invested a lot of money to redo stuff for this, or at least to finish the stuff that Snyder had done before, because some of it was previously before, and then obviously they did get new stuff for it. Yeah. And I think it was a big selling point to help push HBO Max, was letting people know that it was coming to that. Yeah. I think their vision for it was more about pushing HBO Max than about giving people the Justice League movie.
Okay.
So I don't know if I trust them enough. I would say for them, the right call would be, yeah, make another one. And if you want to make money, release it in the cinema.
Yeah.
Do what you're doing with the rest of your movies, drop it in the cinema and here, because if people are hyped for this, they'll go pay money to see it in the big screen. If you just let Zack Snyder do what he does, honestly. Because think about it, 4 hours. People sit in the cinema for 4 hours and watch something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, people like that, oh no, that's too long. I'm like, no, you'll watch it.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I think Zack Snyder holds all the cards now. Like,
only
he can really, I mean, outside of Warner Brothers making their decision, he can do really whatever he wants. And I know I've had this discussion with you, like, and we've had this on the stream a lot. DC needs a Kevin Feige. They need a Kevin Feige-ish type person to look over the entire thing, make sure it's cohesive, it's a cohesive story, and the inner workings of it and all that stuff. And I feel like because they're setting this specific tone that's different than the MCU, I feel like Zack Snyder could be that person who is basically the creative, the vision of the DCEU, and he can interconnect those stories. And whether you like him or not, I mean, he's done a good job with at least 2 of these, a decent job with at least 2 of the movies.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's it. Like, because I think I said it to you before, I think one of the big issues for them is it wasn't necessarily what Zack Snyder was doing. He definitely got a lot of flack for how dark his universe was and how dark he was taking the stuff in DC, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, he was trying to be different from Marvel, and that's definitely a good thing, because they're trying to do something that's a little bit different from that. But at the same time, Warner Brothers, had a really big reaction to it. They had a really big reaction to what was taking place, and they tried to course correct. We've seen that with Justice League. We've seen that they did that once Batman v Superman started getting bad ratings. They tried to do it with Suicide Squad. There was a whole talk about going back and redoing stuff and that to try and make it a bit lighter. So there's definitely that. There's definitely the fact of, like, it was all over the place, and that was one of the issues.
Yeah.
I think having Zack Snyder, if he did want to still be in charge, because there's been talks of him saying apparently he didn't want to do any more superhero movies or comic book movies, which, after all the stuff that's happened, I wouldn't blame him. To be just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm done. I do make other movies, you know?
Yeah.
But if he was up for it, like, make him in charge of it. Give him a run at it and just see what he can do with the whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not give him that?
Yeah. I think he's definitely earned it.
Happy Tees, maybe run times of restriction to theatre, which is why 4 hours in theatres wouldn't work. Yeah, I know, but, you know, there's a whole other talking point for that, though. It's like that. It's not so much that the movie theatre was show, it's the fact of, like, that. Let Zack Snyder have his vision with it. Don't cut him off at the legs and stuff, and don't try and do all this different stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's the thing at the end of the day for us. Like, they should make the next one. They should continue this. There's definitely an audience for it, but I don't know if they will.
Yeah.
We just need to wait and see. Yeah, there you go. Happy to thoroughly enjoy it. Yeah, like, I've not heard a bad report from this. I've not heard a bad report from this at all. Standard Cut was put in part, so they could just call it a multi-feature and actually use the intermission breaks. Yeah, that is one thing they could definitely do. I mean, you could definitely do it in, you know, in breaks and stuff. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do.
I hope they continue it, man. I really do.
All right, but I think that's a good place to wrap up for our talk on this.
Thanks to everybody for popping in, man.
Pretty much filled the whole 2 hours with that.
Yeah.
Shave off like 20 minutes of the stream for the fact that it took like 15-20 minutes to actually hear us.
Technical issues.
Which, of course, was technical issues.
Of course.
Of course it was. But thank you so much for everyone that's popped in to be part of this. If you want to keep up with the conversation with us elsewhere, you can, of course, go ahead and check us out on our social media. Which, of course, is not going to pop up online now. There we go. Yeah, it did. The best part of Twitch, technical issues. Oh, yeah. Gotta love it, log. But yeah, go ahead and follow us on social media. Join us on our Discord to keep the conversation going on over there. If you want to keep up with previous episodes and other shows, we of course have our YouTube channel, so go ahead and check that out as well. And subscribe to us over there to keep up with all our content. So coming up this week, tomorrow night, I will be back with more Monday Night Crossplay as we delve back into Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. We will be continuing that on. So I'll be back for that at around 9 o'clock tomorrow night. I'll maybe try and get on a bit earlier, but at least by 9 I should be on. So keep up on our social media and stuff. I'll be posting about that. Next week, don't know if Nitro remembers this or not, but next week is a Nitro solo stream.
That's great. I totally remembered.
Absolutely, yeah.
We'll make it an art stream. Probably, maybe. Or gaming stream. We'll figure it out.
I was going to say, yeah, he's probably going to do art or gaming. That's generally his solos for it. So come along and support Nitro next week. Usual time, about 2 o'clock. Unless he tells you different. If he does, check out our social medias for that. But yeah, I won't be here next week, and there won't be any crossplay next Monday night. My wife is going in for procedure this week, so I'm going to be taking some time off just to kind of help her out. But we will be then back into April in full swing. Make sure as well to pop in next week. I don't know if Nitro wants to do anything specific for it, but technically next Monday would be the official, but next Sunday it will be the 1 year anniversary of the launch of Comics in the Cross. As of next weekend, we have been going for 1 year.
That's so crazy. It does not feel like 1 year.
I know, it's kind of nuts. Sorry, throat was dry as that. But yeah, we have been going for about a year. That's kind of crazy to think, actually. But thank you. Thank you for everyone that has followed us over this last year, that has subbed to the channel, that has supported us and encouraged us and helped us out. And check us out on all of our other places. And woo. Also as well, if you do want to keep up with our podcast on places where we do have our podcasts, here are some of the links you can go in here, just the audio versions of those, although the videos are up on YouTube. And then of course, April 25th, our 12-hour stream raising funds for the autism community in action. Go and check out their website, and we will be going from 10 a.m. all the way through to 10 p.m. with a whole bunch of stuff in place, with a whole bunch of people that are in chat and that have been in here today helping us out, and we appreciate it. Alright, all of you people have an amazing day. Enjoy yourselves, and I will see you all tomorrow evening. Take care, everyone, and have a good one.
Adios.